virtually everybody here will change this week. I looked at your goals. They were pathetic. Well, your net worths, for those of you that have any, are fucking pathetic. We have a couple of people that have ostensibly some money. Other than that, everybody's dirt poor. And this one old man's opinion. That's a sad fucking state of affairs. We give you the processes, the systems, the procedures. You don't have to guarantee shit, meaning guarantee with your signature. You don't have to put collateral up, and in many cases it's non-recourse. I'm gonna say it again slow for the meatheads. Non-recourse means if you fuck it up like everything else you've done in your life, you fucked everything else up. Now, if you fuck it up, you don't have to give the money back. Now, I'm not suggesting you on purpose fuck it up, but in the back of your mind and your subconscious, you're worried about, well, what if I fuck up and then I can't pay the money back and they're gonna take my $73,000 house and my $6,000 car, and they're gonna take, well, your wife's have no fucking jewelry, and so you're not rich enough to buy any diamonds. So what am I gonna do? Well, most of you live in apartments anyway, so what the fuck are they gonna take away? Nothing. Josh Kim, only collateral was a 15-speed motherfucking bicycle. He was 17 fucking years old. You should fucking be embarrassed. You should fucking kill yourself. Metaphorically speaking, of course, because I would never want anybody to kill themselves. Certainly not here, you cocksuckers. 17 years old. What the fuck, guys, other than jacking off on your computer, what the fuck were you doing at 17? I think some of the 47-year-olds are still jacking off on their computer. You'll be able to invoke change is after I put a bullet in your head and say you're out of the program. I've tried all kinds of different ways, and that's the ultimate hammer, and it works. 1/3 of you within 6 weeks will either have pneumonia, stressed out, can't walk, can't talk, can't get out of bed because you've never been under stress. We had a guy, a Naval Academy graduate. His kidneys shut down. His liver shut down. He was in intensive care. He came that close to death. He wanted success so bad. And he was 235 pounds of twisted steel and panther piss. And his body collapsed under him. So how are you going to do? Not as well. See, son's not here. He must have died in the night. Well, one less. Fuck him. That's good. Now, all these guys that have six-packs, I don't like to tell you, aren't tough. 8-packs, 6-packs, 4, 5, 6, 7% body fat, you can wipe your ass with. There's no correlation whatsoever with success and what I just described. Zero. In fact, there's an inverse correlation because you spent all your time trying to get it. Well, you don't have to worry about a six-pack, chubby. I mean, you spend all your time trying to get a six-pack instead of working. We all know that's true. We're going to show you some weekly reports. Guys spent 20 hours a week fresh air walking. And you wonder why I wasn't more successful. 75% of the questions, if you took 10 minutes on my website, you could answer. Maybe not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes. All you have to do is hit danpeña.co.uk, click one button, and the question's answered. If you ask me a fucking question that you should have known the answer because you should have read the material, I gave you a lot of shit to read. Half of you didn't even read any of it. I will rip your motherfucking head off and shit down your neck on public television. I will embarrass you. I will make you look like dog shit. I'm not here to waste my time, and stupid questions waste their time. I won't allow it. No matter what question you ask him, it's the same fucking answer. Now, when you get your templates, you're gonna think, oh shit, there's only 6 answers here. No matter what they ask you, we only have 6 possible answers. No matter what time it is, answer number 2. Well, this project, could it ever lose money? Answer number 5. You only have to learn between 25 and 30 phrases to be a billionaire. 30 if you're stupid, 25 if you're reasonably smart. So we'll say 30 for this group. When I tell you, I know it's still, when I look at your faces, you don't believe you don't have to know anything. You don't believe it in your heart. I know you don't. I can see it in your eyes. You don't have to know anything. That's why it's harder for engineers, because they want to know. They want to know why the bridge won't fall down. You don't have to know. One of the biggest challenges you're going to have when you go home, because this is like a perfect environment. This is like a scientific experiment where everything is in the right place. When you go home and you start implementing this stuff and executing it, it's going to be a different world. But some of you, I'm going to have to chop your head off for you to succeed. I can just see you running around with no head, QLA worked then, QLA works now. You may say 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, QLA didn't work. But in your heart, you know you didn't work. The will or the desire to want to succeed is there, but the will and the desire to want to succeed easily is stronger than just the plain the will and desire. The spirit is willing and the flesh is weak. It's like you want to lose weight and every once in a while a pill comes out, right? That you can lose weight without really working too hard. When I read the YouTube comments It's a personification of they want it easy. And that's why it's even easier for us, because there's even less competition. Because when 99% of the people want it easy, and by definition, this is not the easy program. I mean, you're gonna fill your pockets full of money like you couldn't imagine. Whenever I look at YouTube, I think, the kids, I don't know what they're, and I say sarcastically, I don't know what the fuck they're smoking. If it's not addicted, give me some of the shit, But they delude themselves. It's unbelievable. That shows insecurity. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a load of shite. A stiff drink and a good fuck could kill you all. Ask your wives, your girlfriends, and or your mistresses if you got any. I'm gonna say it again slowly. If you don't think you can fuck all night, you cannot fuck all night. If you don't think you're gonna change the world, guess what? You're not gonna change the world. Never, you just won't. If you think you're gonna make $1 million, I guarantee you're not gonna make 5 million. If you think you're gonna make 10 million, I guarantee you're not gonna make a fucking 100 million. If you think you're gonna make 100 million, I guarantee you're not gonna make $1 billion. We do not exceed our most wild expectations. That'd be tough for you. If I made $1 million, I spend $1,250,000. If I made 10 million, I spent 12.5 million. If I made 100 million, I spent 125 million. And why did I do that? Because I didn't want any plan B. I wanted no backstop. But when I look at you and your efforts to be, they call it a better person. You don't say all you can be, you say a better person. At least 3 or 4 of you that I've had private time with so far is saying, I'm working on that. Now, I don't know what the fuck that means. And how long does it take you to work on something to make a change? Change is tough. People talk about change, but nobody wants to make change. You pretend by listening to, and all the stuff that we've talked about. But how much does it take when you're working on yourself to make those changes? If you had a kid, and I put a gun to the kid's head and said, you're making the change in 24 hours, almost every single person that's ever come through the seminar could make the change. Because there was a pay price to action that they weren't willing to take. Namely, blowing the little shithead's head off. Even though most of the little shitheads ought to be fucking dead, and most of the little shitheads should have never been fucking born and dribbled down your fucking mama's thigh. Or your thigh if you're a female and you got kids. If you're worth a shit, you can get a job in 24 hours. But down deep inside, you know you're not worth a shit. So that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Not only aren't you worth a shit, and you should have rolled down your mama's fat fucking leg instead of being conceived, you got a backup plan for not being worth a shit. Part of being a pleaser is giving tacit approval. Tacit approval is, you and I talk, you know I'm talking bullshit. Okay, you know that I'm wacko, but you don't say anything to me. You just listen. You might even shake your head like this, not on purpose, but just like this. So you're giving me tacit approval by not speaking up. So then you go to the next guy and you say, and I tell the next guy, well, I was talking to so-and-so and he agreed with me. And by the time it gets around the room, Dan said this, and I didn't say anything. And your whole lives have been based on tacit approval. Because you don't want to be confrontational. Now to me, telling a guy or a gal they're full of shit is not confrontational. To the rest of the world, it is. Pleasing and giving tacit approval is why you're, for the most part, here. I go in and choke you. We'll see if you can get ruthless out of you. When you're the only warrior on the battlefield, it gets tiring. And that's why it's so hard to stay the course. Now, let's just project 25 acquisitions from now. You're on number 26. It's a motherfucker to stay focused. You've done it 25 times. That's when you get sloppy and you make mistakes because default's a bitch. What are the takeaways about Mr. Jobs? Other than he's an asshole. And I don't like to talk about guys that are dead in a bad way. But all these people that we're studying here, you got to talk about them in a bad way because they were bad guys. Because all the people we're going to talk about this week talk exactly like I do, off camera. Elon Musk's favorite word is fuck. He gets it 3 or 4 or 5 times in every sentence he speaks. My favorite word is cunt. They're all alike. They don't send flowers at Christmas. They're all assholes. It's quite remarkable, the people that I've been privileged, and I call it, it's a privilege to be around a number of those guys. And they're 98% all the same. All of them are workaholics. Savage. They never say they're sorry, which is the biggest. If you cut that word out of your vocabulary, not if, when you cut that fucking word out of your vocabulary, you will grow 50% as a human being. Because first you cut the word out, the actual action. Then over time, you cut the feeling out. The people that are sorry are fucking pleasers. When do you see a head of state say he's sorry? When? You don't. Then why do you say you're sorry? You've been taught. You've heard your parents say they're sorry. And the challenge is, when you make somebody that's got a lot of money, you piss them off. They have the money to hound you forever. I speak from my own past experience because I do, The most infamous case was the ex-priest that took money from me. If the Vatican Bank hadn't had so much money, I would have gone after the Vatican Bank too, because they fucked me for 10 times more than the priest did. But I've decided discretion was the better part of valor than for me to chase after the Vatican Bank. not the least of which 9 out of 10 people that chase the Vatican Bank wind up in graves. To get hired at Google, you go through 15, 20 interviews, and they're ruthless. To get hired at Facebook, you go to 15 or 20 interviews, and they're ruthless. 2/3 of the planet used to be ruled by the Brits. They called it gunboat diplomacy. Now what the fuck do the Brits have? Now they're all running around and peeing on themselves about Brexit. And now there's still people that believe in gunboat diplomacy. Mr. Putin's one. He takes over the Ukraine or wherever he took over. And what did anybody do about it? Nothing. They shoot down a fucking plane. What did anybody do about it? Nothing. Obama drives a line in the sand or whatever that fucking thing he said he did about Syria. And what do? Nothing. Muhammad Ali, I'm the greatest. Hadn't beat anybody up yet. The guys like that talk shit and they have their own frame of reference, or they reframe the facts to something that they can adopt. People are gonna think you're a fucking psycho. But as soon as they leave the room and they talk to somebody else, that cocksucker, something's wrong with him. But I'm something that penicillin can't cure. I'm like a virus that can't be killed. I'm the last saloon in the last town on the edge of the earth and the world is flat. You've tried everything known to man and failed. I'm it. This program's it. This is the last fucking chance you may have. If at the end of the seminar, you even have any reasonably kind thoughts about me, I didn't do my job. I wish I could tell you I was happy to see you, but I'm not. I'm saying that nicely. I don't mean it nicely, but I'm saying it nicely. I wish that there wasn't such a demand for me right now, which means I haven't made much of a dent on humanity. They say I'm on a rocket ship to heaven. From their lips to the big man's motherfucking ears. Just in case there is a big man. And I'm not a social responsibility kind of guy. I'm not. We all know that, right? I hope the world ends the day after I die. But I don't give a fuck if the world ends as long as I end the day before it ends. I don't care about my grandkids. I don't care about my fucking kids. And my parents are long gone. And I sure shit don't care about anybody that's ever been in this room. Except for my wife. Nobody loves Dan Peña more than Dan Peña. Some people say I am a result of those 2 atomic explosions because there's nobody like me, not even remotely close. I was born with big balls. A Chinese gal asked me what my testosterone was. And I said, best of my recollection, I think it's about 1,500. And of course, nobody believed me. So I went back and I had Kim pull my medical records. And it was 1,840. So I was wrong. I gave misinformation. I still pulled Walt out of bed in the morning. At 74, I am as close to a Neanderthal caveman as walks the earth. Like this right here, I like her, I just hit your mate in the fucking head and I drag you off. That is my personality. That's what I feel in my loins. Same reason that I've had a lot of difficulty getting my reality show on TV, because I will not promise or guarantee that I won't say fuck, cunt, vagina, stick it up your ass on TV. I was talking shit since I'm about 16, 17 years old. And they talk about me pulling investment bankers across conference tables back in my heyday and choking them. I will neither confirm nor deny those stories, but they're closer to being accurate than inaccurate. It was my way or the motherfucking highway. Those were the good old days. I've been blessed with this personality, though. I've been damned, cursed, if you want to say, with this personality for a long, long, long time. And then by the time I start choking the other ones, they'd be running out the door, though. I couldn't get them all. Of course, I'm a softer, gentler person now. I've had a fever all week. I'd either have to be dead or in a coma not to be doing this. I could even give it in a coma. But I'm not exaggerating, because I took $800, turned it into 450 million, which is 55 million%. I grew at 67,000% a year. You've never met, heard of, or even read about anybody that's growing anything remotely that fast. 55 million%. So I became a god. People ask me, how soon, if you left the seminar today, Dan, how soon would you have the whole deal and have a deal signed? And I go, maximum 30 days. Every cocksucker, you add them end on end, side by side, dick on dick, and I've created more wealth than the whole fucking alumni of that school. I'm telling you what the Lord knows. She looked right in the camera and says, the only thing that's happened with Danny Peña is his accomplishments caught up with his big fucking mouth. Those are probably the only swear words she ever said in her life. But the animosity that had been built up for 25 years of me beating the business professors came out. Sad fucking state of affairs. Asians are problems. Muslims are problems. Hispanic, Mexican, wetbacks are problems. Fat Jews are problems. Anglo-Saxon white people are problems. Skinny people are problems. Fat people are problems. You're all nothing but a hemorrhoid to me. Metaphorically speaking, of course. The kids still listen to read books because they tell you it's easier. I tell you it's fucking flat impossible when I'm gonna teach you what to do. But why do you think those guys in the last 3, 4, 5 years have become so overwhelmingly popular? I mean, they have these throngs of sycophants that are chasing them around because the kids are trying to live vicariously through them. But most of them aren't worth a shit. Most of the self-help personal development industry, because they're putting out shit. I showed you the big piles of dinosaur shit. Most of what they put out is crap. In my judgment, the thing that pisses me off the most is they know it's crap. It's not, if they didn't know, some of the things our parents told us, they actually believed. It was shit, but they believed. Most of you are here because of your parents, or the lack thereof, the lack of parenting they did. I have pity on those people. I won't have any pity this week, but if you love your parents, somebody fucked up. If they love you, somebody fucked up. If love got the fucking job done, you wouldn't be here. If religion got the fucking job done, you wouldn't be here. And who are the two primary things in your life when you're growing up? Normally religion and your family. Correct? Correct. But ask your dad, was I on purpose? Now that is a good question. And when he goes, you got your answer. It's as clear as that. But the reason why my demographics have changed is because the kids realize their parents are full of shit. They realize school is full of shit. They realize virtually everything they've been taught heretofore is wrong. And that's why the kids are poor. What you've been taught, what you've learned, what you've read is the antithesis to creating wealth. Does everybody understand what I just said? If you knew the truth about Moses, and if you knew the real truth about Allah, and if you knew the real truth about Christ, and if you knew the real truth about Buddha, in this country they say you'd be gobsmacked. Because just like I found out all the shit about Napoleon Hill, the same kind of shit is about those people I just mentioned. If you knew the real truth about the Catholic religion, and that's more in the limelight, not the abuse and shit like that, that's only the tip of the iceberg. Backed wars, backed Hitler, killed Jews, and worse. Now that's not PC. But if you don't love yourself, and if you don't learn to be selfish, you're gonna fail. When you were a little kid, what did your mom tell you? Share your toys, right? Fuck that kid, kick him in the teeth. You're not gonna give him your toys, fuck him. And that's why you are the way you are. And by the grace of Allah, Buddha, or somebody, I was taught just the opposite. Because I had an animal for a father, a beast. They interviewed my dad, and I told my dad, please don't give an interview. But he gave an interview. He said, Mr. Peña, you must be very proud of your son. And he says, yes, I am. And he looks right in the camera, and he says, my son's success is in spite of me, not because of me. My dad wanted to distance himself from any of the success because he knew he had not a fucking thing, in his mind, not a fucking thing to do with my success. Yet your families live vicariously off you that haven't done fuck. If your families live vicariously off your success, how fucking unsuccessful are they? They should be fucking ashamed if you're the best they got. We have kids going to university and rolling up companies. We have high school kids rolling up companies. And what's your excuse going to be? Interest rates are the lowest for 5,000 goddamn years. They're fucking giving money away. Oh, Jesus Christ. And you saw he's as happy as Larry that the deal closed, Kind of Forrest Gump happy, if you noticed. And that's why you all have a chance. Because you're closer to Forrest Gump than Einstein. Everybody in this room. You're closer to 80 than 180 IQ. A couple of you think you've been successful. I would argue you haven't. You've been successful based on your own benchmarks, not mine. We haven't had a successful person in this seminar based on my benchmarks in 26 motherfucking years. Andrew Carnegie's had 4 rules of financial success. Financial motive must prevail is 1. Financial motive must prevail was 2. Financial motive must prevail was 3, and financial motive must prevail was 4. That's it! There isn't anything else. Forget about the rest, a little mean fucking Scott. I couldn't agree fucking more, but anyway. Money talks and bullshit walks. He didn't say that part, that's what I say. Money talks and bullshit walks. Fact patterns. They're not looking for definitive, there's not a red flag that comes up and says, I stole here, but there's no rhyme or reason or how the money got changed, where the money went. And now with electronic banking, it's harder to trace fraud. It's harder to chase malfeasance. And why do I like KPMG or the big firms and the big law firms knowing I'm going to pay 30 to 50 to 70% more premium? Because when they fuck something up, they've got deep pockets to sue and they've got big malpractice insurance policies. And your little Joe Schwartz and company from Tallahassee, who probably doesn't even have any insurance. That's the premium and that's the luxury of having a big firm. And you may never have to use that they've got deep pockets. But the one time that you don't use them and you get sued for malpractice, malfeasance, and or fraud, you wish to hell you had one of those big firms you could fall back on. And that wasn't part of our program, the Trek, because it turned into a fucking clusterfuck. Scorchers, we're getting ready. I told Tim, gear it up. I told him who it was, blah, 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 we're gearing up. I'm paying for it. I already spent $27,000. I'd like to say that it was a Muslim. I'd like to say it was black, but it wasn't. 3 fucking white guys. It would be a better story. Some Chinese cocksucker from Beijing, but it wasn't. 3 white guys. Because he put his arm around the kid. I want to be like your father, he said. As soon as that happens, you got to cut the guy's throat. Because they weren't about to let a 27-year-old kid make 60% of 75 million. But when they're not under strict observation, and forget absentee management, absentee ownership, forget about it. I mean, just don't even waste your time in absentee ownership. You're gonna get fucked, big time. Everybody else said, acquiesce, make up, kiss and make up, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, fuck him. Fuck him where he breathes. And it's a shitty thing to say, but that's the only thing I've ever seen work. Now, I've been accused of hitting people with pipes and shit like that, which I will neither confirm nor deny. But I mean, you know, I do whatever it takes. I don't fuck around. Oh, you can put a lot of paperwork together, but unless you're willing to fight, all that paperwork is you can wipe your butt with. But litigation is a bitch because, I mean, depositions and going to testify, and it's not easy. Unless somebody rats them out. And by the way, if you rat people out the Interpol, you rat people out of the IRS, the Inland Revenue, the taxing authorities, you get 10% of what the booty is. The booty is what they owe. You get 10% cash. And as they say in Kentucky, that's a big goddamn incentive. We have a couple guys, that's their model, that have come through the seminar the last 10 years. Getting up close to rich people, ratting them out. I believe they're going to wind up dead someday. Most of the people watching this on YouTube and most of the people that come here initially wouldn't know a deal if it bit them in the ass. I used to think human resources was the biggest fucking waste, I still do, the biggest fucking waste of time of shareholders' money. He may have spent $5 million to produce the million. In most cases, you online morons, the big guys, the big hitters, the big fucking hitters online spend between $500 and $1,000 to test the concept. If it doesn't gain traction, if it doesn't get impressions, if it doesn't get clicks, next. Some of you in this room have been finger fucking with your online business, not for hours, not for days, not for weeks, not for months, for fucking years trying to get traction. And you still don't have it. They're telling you it's either hot or it's a turd. And if you keep on adding money, you're wasting, you're shitting it down the toilet. But when you bind the businesses, you bind de-risked revenue. I'm going to say it again slow for the meatheads. De-risked revenue. The risk has been taken out of it because somebody's already paid a lot of money to produce that million. And the banks understand that. And that's why the banks like people that buy revenue as opposed to create it. They have the National Health Service that has been threatening to go privatized forever, but they still haven't. When that happens here, you should all move to the UK. It'll be like shooting fish in a barrel. Absolutely. All of them, vis-a-vis you, with one or two exceptions in the room, all of these guys and gals are going to be smarter than you vis-a-vis what you're going after. Because they've done it. That's why they're there. That's why they get free founders equity. That's why you're giving them bonuses on the goddamn transactions. The worst thing you can ever tell me on your weekly report is I feel good about this meeting. I want to go down and ram the fucking report down your fucking throat. What basis do you possibly have to feel good about anything? You said it yourselves, I feel good about this meeting. What kind of moronic thing is that? You have no fucking basis. You pick the board. Because if I pick the board and then you fail with the board, you're going to blame it on me and QLA. Don't send me your fucking board members. I don't give a fuck. Take responsibility, you fucking meaty mouth vagina. That's what you're really doing. You're trying to push off responsibility away from yourself like you have done all your life. But don't pick people like you. And the hard asses aren't always guys. They're hard women. And women are vengeful. I mean, you fuck around with a gal and she never forgets forever. She wants your blood. I mean, she wants to eat you for hors d'oeuvres and the rest of her life. So we're not in here for lifestyle incomes, and we're certainly not here to buy ourselves a job. We're not in the pretend game here. We're here to create generational wealth. So to you, to ripping their fucking heads off and shitting down their neck. Take no fucking prisoners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, YouTube. Go fuck yourself. Thank you.